Welcome to Chalk Talk. I'm Chris Love.
And I'm John Stork.
And John, I know last week you were at ODU in front of a chalkboard. This week, where are you?
Yeah, there is no college sailing team for me to use their classroom in Clarksdale, Mississippi. So I am standing in kind of the parking lot side yard area of the place that my girlfriend Emily and I are staying, and it's a place that everybody should check out. If you're ever driving through northern Mississippi, you should stay at the Shack Up Inn. It's like an old cotton gin, and they've kind of converted some of the barns and old gins to like little motel rooms and stuff. It's really cool.
Have you ever wondered why it's so important to be a member of U.S. Sailing? We are all U.S. Sailing, from beginners to experts, from one-design sailors to offshore cruisers, and from instructor trainers to race officials. U.S. Sailing supports all types of sailors in countless ways. Where would sailing be without instruction and safety standards? Where would we be without Learn to Sail programs? Join or renew today to support these resources and ensure sailing remains a lifetime activity for everyone. So I know ever since you left Dartmouth, everyone's been asking what is John Stork going to do next? Is this the answer? It's cotton gin?
No, I don't know if this is the answer, but but it's cool. You know, we're just out on this road trip and just trying to explore and trying to go places that we would otherwise not go. Kind of get outside of our comfort zone, and this is certainly doing that. But it's really cool. Everybody's so nice. Mississippi is filled with incredibly cool and nice people.
That is amazing. I've done a little bit of travel between my old home of Austin, Texas, and my current home in Massachusetts, and there's a lot of country out there that doesn't have access to sailing that's still worth seeing.
Absolutely, it's been a really cool trip so far, and we're kind of just getting started. We're taking the opportunity while we still both don't have jobs to get a lot of adventure in.
Right on. Well, John, I guess we should probably open with a statement here. You know, you've spent a lot of time coaching sailing and know an awful lot about college sailing. I've been following it for a long time. I feel like I'm pretty tuned in. But you know, it's nice once in a while to remind our viewers that at times you and I have really no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's definitely true, Chris. Last week we clearly just didn't know what we were talking about. Had we seen Luke Muller on the press release that we had attained off the internet, we probably both would have picked him. But we still definitely would not have guessed well, we did see him, Stefano Peschiera. I hope we're pronouncing his name right, but probably not. Freshman from Charleston, coming from Peru, and you know, we probably should have known better. Seeing a South American-looking name that we didn't know much about from the College of Charleston, we probably should have been picking him to win.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we said that on the men's side, we didn't think there were any Olympic hopefuls or anybody who was like seriously campaigning in the laser, and of course there were two. Pretty dumb of us, but pretty exciting showdown between these two this weekend at the Laser Performance Men's Single-Handed Nationals. Yeah, it was.
You know, despite our poor effort, they came and performed really well anyway. And the one thing that was kind of weird is, you know, this was the first year that it was only a two-day event. That was a big kind of vote through last year. I think at the winter meeting, might have been at the spring meeting, but I think it was at the winter meeting where College Sailing decided that single-handed nationals should only be 2 days now. So this was year number one, and of course, like all the people that were against it got the proof of why they were against it in the first year. So Saturday was totally glassy. You can see some of the photos online, and it was pretty epic how glassy it was. And so no racing on Saturday. So then you know, the report time gets pushed earlier on Sunday, and you're told to show up at 8 a.m. and that's pretty weird as a sailor and a coach. Now all of a sudden you're there for a national championship, and you know, you've got basically 6 hours to get a national championship in, and that definitely can change the approach to the event for the sailors and the coaches. And but these two sailed great.
Yeah, from the scoreline, very interesting watching Luke Muller sail no worse than a third and then get a 12th. You kind of have to wonder what happened. Luckily, we have with us on the program today, from the College of Charleston, Stefano Peschiera.
Yeah, thank you very much for receiving me here, this interview, and I'm pretty excited to be here.
Coming off the win over in Washington, is that where you are?
Yeah, I'm in Seattle, Washington, and we've been sailing in Bellingham Bay, north, 1 hour north.
Following the regatta from here, we weren't able to get a lot of details about racing, except that obviously Saturday had no wind at all, and then the entire regatta basically happened on Sunday. Tell us about that experience. The ZIM 15 is moving dinghy sailing forward as the first performance dinghy to hit the market in 2 decades. Designed specifically for team racing and short courses, the ZIM 15 is turning heads with its sleek look and advanced systems. The carbon rig and laminated sails make the ZIM 15 a light air rocket that is easily depowered as the breeze builds. The ZIM 15 is the boat clubs have been asking for to attract a college and post-college sailor.
I'm not used to sailing in cold conditions at all. I come from a really warm place, Peru, and I'm not very used to sailing in cold, but I got this like really warm clothes to wear, so I came prepared for the cold. So we arrived here on Friday to get our boats and rig them, because on Saturday we were gonna sail really early, since the sunset was going to be really early as well. So on Saturday it was really foggy and cold, and there was not much wind, so we couldn't sail. We tried, once the fog went and left, we had to go into the water and try and find some breeze, but there was no breeze at all, so we had to come back. It was really cold and tiring to wait so long in the water, but the next day the forecast was pretty good. It was supposed to blow 25 knots, and when we got to the club, there was 25 knots blowing, so I was pretty excited because I really like sailing in different kinds of conditions, and I feel comfortable when it's windy. We ended up having races with all wind conditions, which was pretty nice and sweet, but it was really tough since these clouds made the wind really inconsistent, and really it changed a lot, so you had to think a lot during the race and position yourself really well in order to be consistent in the races, no?
This is the first college national championship that you've been to. What were your expectations of this event?
I've been sailing the lasers for 3 years now. I started in the 4.7, then the radials, and now I'm only focusing in the fall rig, since I'm trying for the Rio 2016 Olympic Games. So I'm pretty new to the sport, but I think I had been training a lot, and since I won the ICSA Singlehanded qualifications for the nationals, I was expecting to win these nationals, but I knew there was gonna be a lot of competition, and I knew there was like pretty good names in the list, in the registration list, so the goal was to win it, but I knew it was gonna be really tough.
And as it turned out, Luke Muller was leading the event all the way up until the last race. So tell us, what were you thinking going onto the water for that last race against Luke? Did you have him in your sights? Were you targeting him?
Yes, of course. I was targeting him since the beginning of the regatta. I knew he was also campaigning in the laser for Rio Olympics and in the US sailing team, so I've been with him in several circuit regattas, and I know him very well. I know he's a really good sailor, so since the beginning, when it was blowing 25 knots, I knew he was gonna be really good, so I always had him in mind during the races, and we were always pretty near to each other during the race, and always watching each other, you know. And in the end, before that last race, I knew I was 1 point behind him, and I had to start to leeward of him in order to make him fall to my stern, and that's what we did. We started to leeward of him on the boat, in the race committee boat, and he had no other option than to go to the right, and I had to go with him. And in the end, the wind went to the left, and we finished. We were like 15th and 16th in the wind mark, and I was pretty concerned because I didn't know what to expect there. I wanted to come back and finish better, so I think I did the right decision to cover him. But also in the last part of the race, I ended up catching some other boats and recovering to a really good 4th place, and he couldn't recover those boats I recovered, so he ended up 12th in that race, which set me in a pretty good advantage. And at that moment, I thought there was gonna be one more race, which they started, but the wind dropped, so they had to abandon, and that's how, in the end, I won the regatta. Yeah.
And how did that feel, winning your first college national championship?
It's awesome. Yeah, it's like a dream, because I came to college and not expecting much, knowing that the level was really high and that my possibilities of winning this kind of regattas weren't going to be that good or that high. So it was incredible to just start sailing and being in the top of the regatta until the end, and being able to win the regatta in the last race. So I was pretty amazed, and we're kind of surprised and proud.
You're from Peru, obviously. What made you decide to come to college at College of Charleston?
In Peru, the colleges, schools don't help athletes that much with the sport. So it's after the optis, you have to decide whether you start studying or just stick to sailing. And most of Peruvian opti sailors decide to study, since they don't want to depend just on sailing. So that's where most of our sailors' careers end, when they end optis and they have to go to college. And I didn't want this to happen to me, since I thought I had a pretty good base and a pretty good curriculum. So I wanted to explode this talent I had. And my dad studied here as well, in Stanford, in California. So he really liked the system of the schools here, and we liked that there was a college sailing program here, so that I could sail and study at the same time and be able to complete my dream, which is qualify to Olympic Games.
College of Charleston over the past couple of years has had a few very talented South American single-handed sailors. Juan Magley, Enrique Arathun, and now you. Do you know those guys? Is there any coincidence as to why you chose this school?
Yes, they're pretty good friends of mine, and I think that's why I ended up going to Charleston. They convinced me of going to the school. They wanted to create this Latin team in the school of pretty good laser sailors, and be able to train every day and keep the same Olympic level as other people do, right? Because professionals only sail, they don't study, so we had to catch up with them, and we had to create this Latin team. Or it didn't matter if any other guy wanted to join the training, but they were more than welcome to do. And we were always sailing 5 times or 4 times a week, which helped me a lot in getting this high level, and helped us to maintain our sailing hours. So yeah, now I'm housemate with Quique Araton, with Enrique. So he unfortunately couldn't make it, as he finished 4th in the qualifiers, but he's a pretty good sailor. And now that Juan's not in school with us, I'm using Kike as my sparring. He's using me as his sparring. So we're both relying on each other and training with each other to keep our levels really high. So we kind of do our physical activities together and our sailing hours together.
I know you started school last spring, and you've got the Olympics hopefully coming up in 2016. Have you thought about how your Olympic training will fit in with your school schedule? Do you plan to take any semesters off?
We wanted to do our school semester, complete our school semesters as soon as possible in order to be able to focus for our Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games. So what I wanted to do is take as less semesters out or off as possible in order to be able to finish as quickly as I can and be able to concentrate just in sailing, you know? So that was our goal. But in case I qualify for the Rio 2016 Olympics, I would have to take that spring 2016 off to be able to prepare for the games and be able to perform in the best way I can. But while I'm in school right now, I am able to train at a really high level, especially because I have this kicker in the team, and we are able to keep our physical trainings as well really in a really high level. So that helps right now. It's not 100% dedication to sailing, but it's a really high percentage still. So that will help keep my level up and try and make it to the Olympics.
Well, best of luck to you in your Olympic campaign. We hope everything goes well, and good luck at school as well.
Thank you very much.
And looking down the results, I think the rest of this regatta went pretty much as we expected. Pretty competitive middle group there. No one was a standout. You do see Nevin Snow, who is undefeated this season, breaks his winning streak, but takes a fifth.
Yeah, he was fifth, but most importantly for him, there aren't really any College Sailor of the Year finalists in front of him, and so he used this event and he did what he had to do, and he's building a really strong resume for College Sailor of the Year already, and we're not even halfway through the year.
At the same venue, same event, we have the Women's National Championship. I'm glad to say that we did get one right here, but this was not a runaway by any means. Erika Reinigen takes the championship, but again, it really comes down to the last few races. A lot of challenges from some young competition.
Yeah, I think, I mean, another thing that we got right is kind of continuing to show that the power of the freshmen definitely showed in the women's side. I think freshmen finished second, third, and fifth in the top 5, so that's pretty strong showing. All those talented freshman girls coming off of years of radial training, and yeah, it was. I think the final points were closer than we expected, but I think that probably also has to do with the shortened regatta, the abbreviated event with only 6 races. I think Erika probably knows going into that day that she's probably the fastest on the water. She's probably got the most skills. She can win this event in a lot of different ways, and she probably chose that day like, okay, there's only going to be 6 races. One mistake could really hurt me because it's going to be such a larger percentage of the score line. So, maybe I'll just be a little more conservative. I don't have to win races. If I'm consistently in the top 3, I'll probably win the regatta, and that's what happened. And obviously, Lindsay Babb and Dana Rohde sailed tremendously well. Dana Rohde especially, she sailed great, just had one slip up, and that's kind of the example of what we're talking about, of what Erika was probably choosing not to do, and probably not taking those chances.
But yeah, I kind of have to wonder if there wasn't that slip up, if we would have seen, Erika Reinigen go into another gear and really go after the race win rather than just consistency. We won't know, but it certainly shows maturity, ability to stay calm and look at the big picture. And so, Erika Reinigen, congratulations on a 3rd out of 3 Women's National Championship next year as a senior, going for her 4th.
Yeah, that's certainly impressive. I'm not sure if anybody has swept the single-handed nationals, but she's obviously got a good shot at it, and I wish her the best of luck for it. I think she's a great sailor, and she's a really cool person, and it'd be awesome to see her do that next year.
A couple of other events going on around ICSA: the Hatmore team race, one-of-a-kind team race in the fall, and the Kennedy Cup, the big boat college national championship happening at the Naval Academy in the Navy 44s. This is about as far away from laser sailing as you can get, but a really cool event down in Annapolis.
Yeah, it is, Chris. It's one of the longest standing trophies awarded in college sailing, and the big boat sailing scene in college sailing is definitely different, but I for one think it's a really, really important part of college sailing. And even though the players are often very different, a lot of big boat sailors don't ever participate in dinghies, and dinghy sailors don't ever participate in big boats. I think the big boat stuff is vital for the health of college sailing, and more importantly, the health of sailing afterwards. A lot of the big boat sailors from college sailing, they end up going to places, and they kind of already know what they should be pursuing. They should be trying to find a yacht club, finding somebody with some big boat, and getting on as a crew, and just kind of take it from there. Whereas a lot of dinghy sailors, it's a little harder for them to find their kind of next niche, and I think the big boat sailing is really awesome, and it's got a good place in college sailing.
Well, congratulations to College of Charleston picking up another title, the Kennedy Cup winners. They also qualify for the 2015 World Student Yachting World Cup. So representing the U.S., congrats and good luck to them going forward. Well, John, the past couple weeks on the show, we've had our schedule a little bit mixed up. Some false advertising, talking about ACCs, women's ACCs, and PCCs this coming weekend, which is true. We didn't realize at the time that it conflicts this year with the ICSA Match Racing Championship. So needless to say, the teams who have qualified for the National Championship will be sending their best squad there, kind of negating our predictions and definitely taking away a little bit of the prestige from these coastal championships. I will be on site at Sewanaka Yacht Club and Oak Cliff Sailing for this year's event presented by Marlowe Ropes. So I'll give you a little bit of a preview of what to expect. For this regatta, 10 teams have already qualified from their conference championships, at least one from every one of the 7 districts and 2 from the largest of the conferences, NISA, MESA, and SESA. And this event should be very competitive this year. We've got the top 3 skippers from 2013 returning again, and the top spot, the Georgetown Hoyas, the winners of the 2013 ICSA National Championship, returning their entire squad. They've got Nevin Snow at the helm, his regular crew Katia De Silva, along with AJ Ryder and Alex Post. And this same crew is again together this summer in August for the World University Match Racing Championship in Italy, which they also won. So these guys are definitely the favorites going into this year's event, but a lot of strong competition trying to take down these guys. College of Charleston's Ryan Davidson will be back for another try. They lost 2-0 to the Hoyas at last year's finals, though they did beat them early on in the regatta. And as well, Jake Ladow with the St. Mary's Seahawks, back to give it another go. They were 3rd last year and 4th in 2012. Now, a wild card here could be Yale. They've got Ian Barrows, and I don't know a lot about his match racing experience or his sloop racing experience, but I do know this kid is super fast. He's got an ultra-talented crew aboard. Graham Landy, Marley Eisler, and Malcolm Lamphere pulling the strings. And remember the conference championship. They went from the 8th seed going into the final rounds, and then went on to win the regatta. So just knowing what I know about the talent of this crew, and given the time that they've had to prepare for this event, I have to imagine these guys are going to come in as prepared and as ready to go as the veteran crews. So look for Yale to be knocking on the door for the semifinals and finals.
Yeah, it should be an awesome weekend. Hopefully the breeze keeps doing what it's been doing the last month or so, and we get some really exciting conditions and some great racing and a great way to kind of close out the season.
So like I said, I'll be out there providing video highlights for Saturday and Sunday at the finals. You can look for my videos along with updates and scores at 2014matchrace.collegesailing.org. And John, I know you'll be glued to your smartphone in the passenger seat while Emily's driving, but don't worry, I will also tell you all about it next week for our season finale of Chalk Talk.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I have no idea where I'm going to be shooting from next week, so we'll just have to see where that ends up. Good luck to all the sailors this weekend, and that'll do it.